the first question that I see, these are targeted towards myself. So you also have been trading for 10 years, Smith. If you had to start again, what are 3 things that you would focus more on? And that is a very good question. It was a similar question that I also asked to KitKat as well. Basically, if you would go back to when you were a more newbie trader, what were some things that you would focus on? Now, in crypto in particular, there is a great community behind crypto. It can feel like it's a family at times, and it's a nice place to, park your attention. Running on from this, I would say find a good community of like-minded traders to share your analysis and compare your findings. Oftentimes, this will excel the speed in which you progress towards being profitable in the markets and seeing your development in crypto. If you're constantly sharing your thoughts and analysis and cross-referencing this with other people that are perhaps more experienced than you, or even starting out at the same time as you, they can share their knowledge and expertise and you can learn from this. And that's how I found, when I first started trading crypto back in 2016, I found a community on Discord back then, and it was really, really helpful. I remember because I was so active, I was sharing analysis, I actually got promoted to an analyst role within a few months. I had been trading a few years prior to that as well in the stock market and Forex as well. So it really helped to excel the rate in which I learned specifically in crypto. So the second one, a tip that I would give to people, if I've been trading for 10 years, if you had to start again, what are 3 things you would focus on? So number 2, I would say understanding that risk to reward is everything. You can ultimately lose more trades than you win and still be in huge profit when operating on a positive risk to reward. Now, this is a concept that I know a lot of people struggle with, but for me, once I really grasped this concept, it was a pivotal time in my trading career. It really helped me to consolidate everything that I'd learned. So understanding risk reward. Now, simply it means a risk reward is you're looking to gain more than you're losing on every trade. So it could be, for example, a 1-to-2 ratio, a 1-to-2.5 ratio, which means you're looking to gain 2.5 times what you're risking. So that's referencing your take profit level and your stop loss level. Essentially, if you have a 1 to say 2.5 risk reward on every single trade, so you're risking say 30% to gain 75%, you can actually take 10 trades and only win 3 or 4 of those trades and be in huge profit. This is not small profits that we're talking about. You can be in huge profits. I know some traders personally that operate their strategy very aggressively towards risk to reward. Some of them are trading 1 to 10, so that means they're risking 10% to gain 100% per trade. Think of it, you could lose 6 trades, win 1 trade, and you're in insane profit. Imagine that. So that's a concept that I think will help a lot of people if they're in their first year or 2 of trading and they're yet to discover the fact that you can lose more trades than you win and make insane profits. Which moves on to the fact that in crypto in particular, you see many people claiming a 90% win rate, 80% win rate. Unfortunately, on social media, you have to apply a pinch of salt to when you see these claims, because I highly doubt that anyone is consistently operating a 90% win rate day in, day out, month in, month out. It's extremely unlikely. So I like to err on the side of actually, I'll flip that on its head and say my win rate sometimes is only 50%, 40%, and I'm making a lot of money still. So number 3, I would say try to never revenge trade. So if you hit stop loss on a trade for a specific pair, leave that trade alone and don't look for revenge. If you can just sleep on it, have a good night's rest, take yourself away from your trading setup, take yourself away from the stress, have a good night's sleep, go for a walk, and then come back and reassess. So don't revenge trade and don't chase your losses, because this is often times where I found myself in the biggest period of drawdown. So I hope that answers the question very well. I really, this is something that really I'm passionate about when it comes to trading, because I made a lot of mistakes in the beginning and I think it's normal. So number 2 I see is, what are some important factors traders should consider when building their own trading strategy? This is also a very, very good question. Let me just sip my tea. So I would say, guys, you should focus again. Coming back to risk reward, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but just make sure that when you're building a trading strategy, your risk reward is positive. Now, there are some trading strategies where they operate just a neutral risk reward, but oftentimes, this is not sustainable. And also ask yourself these questions when you're building your strategy. What kind of trader are you? And how is your lifestyle going to fit into that? Because not everybody wants to sit at a desk for 10 to 12 hours a day, but some people do, especially when trading is new to you. It has this novelty around it. You do want to sit and trade all day. It's fun. I understand that. But not everyone has that luxury. Many people are busy. They have family lives. They have other stressful businesses and jobs. So ask yourself, how can your lifestyle fit into trading where it's not too stressful and suits you and your personality? So ask yourself, how many hours a day can you be looking at the market? And if the answer is really not that many at all, perhaps you should be doing, say, swing trading, aka holding positions for a few days at a time instead of aggressively scalping, which is typically, in and out of the market, sometimes within minutes, but occasionally it's more like hours at a time. So this requires a lot of your time and energy. And KitKat made a very good point actually earlier into this live stream. Something to do with preserving your energy and your mental focus is actually really important. And the further I've gone down my trading career, I've realized that I have to be consciously aware of how much my energy is being zapped away from me, because then my decision making is not as good. And you really will see a correlation between, when you're low energy and wrong decisions you're making in the market. No one is perfect, so it's really important to focus on that. So the next question I see is top tips for crypto trading that most traders overlook. Also a very good question. So I would say this is actually a good one that I wish somebody taught me. I wish someone said this to me when I was first starting out, or even actually, 3 to 4 years into trading. I wish someone told me this. You can actually track the flow of the economy. So you can track the US dollar. If you go onto TradingView, the US dollar is known as the Dixie or DXY. The Dixie is its nickname. You just type in DXY as you would type in BTC for Bitcoin, and you can load up a chart that shows you how the US dollar is performing. Now think of it, guys. What are we trading Bitcoin and Ethereum and altcoins against? We're trading it against the US dollar. So if you can have two charts side by side, one with the coin that you like to trade, say Ethereum, and then one with just the US dollar, sometimes I see the US dollar will move and then Ethereum will move. And it gives you that small edge in the market to see perhaps, is the US dollar telling you something here? And you can also then extrapolate this out further into, say, commodities like gold. So if I'm now watching gold, the US dollar, but I want to trade Ethereum, now I know that there is a positive correlation between Bitcoin and Ethereum and other commodities like gold and US oil. So if I see gold pumping like crazy for the New York Open, for example, but then Bitcoin is flat and the US dollar is flat, then I'm assuming there's a lagging correlation there between Bitcoin and gold. So I could actually snipe a trade on Bitcoin based on the fact that gold is pumping. And I've actually done this many times. It can be quite draining. It's a very full-on system to do, to have multiple charts open, to be following the US dollar, Bitcoin, gold, US oil. But if you're really serious about this, you can track the correlations and get an edge in the market. This is something that my strategy focuses on a lot, paired with the economic news that we spoke about earlier, going back to the FOMC interest rates, the strength in the GDP of the dollar, which the dollar is the powerhouse of the global economy. So even if you're trading Forex, the US dollar is the king of everything. It's the number one. And you can often find some really good setups based on having this understanding of the importance of the US dollar. So I hope that was useful to some of you, because I wish someone told me this at the start of my trading career. So another question that I see is, what is the biggest mistakes you think most traders make? I guess setting unrealistic expectations. I mentioned this earlier. Oftentimes in crypto and social media, unfortunately, you see a lot of people claiming to have a 90% win rate, 80% win rate. And look, I've also had an 80% win rate, maybe for a few weeks or 1 month at a time, when the market is very clearly trending. When it's only going up, of course, you just buy, and you feel like you're on top of the world. But this is not sustainable. So set some realistic expectations. If you go to an institutional trading floor, and this simply just means like a big bank, on Wall Street, for example, and you tell them you've got a 90% win rate, they're going to laugh at you. No one believes you, because these guys that are making loads of money, they might have a 55% win rate, and that 5% is their edge. Yes. So have these more realistic expectations, and don't be hunting, because in crypto, of course, I keep mentioning this, you see these insane meme coins, things going up like crazy, but you need to try and drown out the noise and set some realistic expectations. So those are the answers to the questions. And there's some more here coming in from the audience as well. How do you handle periods of high volatility in the crypto market? Well, I actually very much thrive on the high volatility. That's something that I look forward to. It's the periods of consolidation that we were mentioning earlier, when the market is less volatile. That's when you actually want to switch off and not be aggressively trading. So when there's high volatility, you need to ask yourself, what is the overlying trend? Are we going up? Are we going down? Then you can start to base your strategy around this. So if we're very clearly in a bull market, the market is trending up, you should be looking for, say, pullbacks to a moving average as a nice baseline to go off, so that you're not chasing green candles. So let's say the market is trending high volatility. How can you get into some nice setups? You could maybe put on a 200 EMA, and once the price revisits that moving average, then you can look for an entry, because you know that we're not overextended. The market has pulled back slightly, and then you can capitalize on potentially the continuation in that volatility. But you first off have to identify where the trend is heading. So another question is, what is your opinion on the current state of the crypto market and its future direction? So I'll answer this, and then I'll also give KitKat the option to answer this question as well. So in my opinion, so the current state of crypto, so we have many fundamental catalysts unfolding. We had the Bitcoin halving, we had the Bitcoin ETF, we're coming up now for the Ethereum ETF. A bunch of news coming out from, say, Hong Kong and Asia are now openly more inclined to have adoption of Bitcoin. So I think that that's a very positive thing for crypto. Now, I also would like to mention that the stock market has been creating new highs all the time, and there is a positive correlation between the stock market and also Bitcoin. And Bitcoin and crypto as a whole, it's what, a 2 trillion market cap. When you go into the stock market, it's a lot bigger. There's a ton more money flowing through the stock market, and also gold as well, than there is crypto. So I like to think crypto is the small brother of the stock market and also commodities. So when they're performing well and they're making new highs, you best believe that crypto is also going to follow that, because it's just riding the wave and the momentum, because there's such big volatility, such big gains being made that are transferring into crypto. And let's not even mention the censorship and how much of a positive impact the actual underlying principles of blockchain technology can have. We're just purely focusing on the technicals here. There's so many other fundamentals at play. We had the Bitcoin halving, which comes into play, making it a lot more difficult for the miners, which in turn makes it more likely that Bitcoin is going to go up, because the scarcity increases. And also another thing is, think about this in third world countries. There's places in South America, they have tyrannical governments, they have hyperinflation, and you think that you have inflation in the US and back in England as well. This is nothing compared to some of these third world countries are really feeling that hyperinflation. They can't even buy simple goods like milk and fruits and vegetables without actually using Bitcoin. So that, I think, will transfer into more countries as we move along. But that's just a brief answer to the question.